Hey guys, welcome back. It's me. For today's video, I'm going to be here talking with the amazing person that I have with me today. As always, thank you so much for your time and tuning in for today's video. Hey, what's your name?
My name's Hamish.
Nice to meet you, Hamish. Do you have a highlight of the day or the week?
Just being back in the lovely Brisbane weather. Picking up all the food places that I used to eat when I lived here as a kid. So yeah, going to the Valley, Chinatown.
Yeah.
Seeing how much it's changed, all the construction going on. It's pretty cool.
One thing kids have today that you wish that you had growing up?
Oh, PlayStations. Games have changed a lot in the past 30 years. I've got a PS4 and PS5, and it's vastly different to the old Nintendo systems that we used to play on.
Famicom?
Yeah.
And why do you miss that the most?
Miss it?
Why do you think it's a great improvement?
Just the immersiveness, I guess, the expanse, the different types of games. I mean, whether you're playing sports or like Red Dead Redemption or anything like that. You can play with people on the other side of the world in real time. You could play with more than one person. When I was a kid, you just had to play with the person sitting next to you, and that was it. And there were 3 of us in our family, so one of us had to always sit out while the other 2 played. So it's pretty cool.
How did your parents raise you differently compared to other children, compared to children being raised today?
We were left alone a lot more. We were able to just go out, ride our bikes, as long as we were back by mealtime. There wasn't a whole lot of oversight on what we were doing. You could take the bus. I would come into the city here, or take the train to the Gold Coast and stuff. You couldn't get in touch with us, so they didn't really know what we were doing. So you could get in a bit of trouble. You could also get in a lot of trouble. So, it's different, but being in constant contact with your parents and with each other is definitely different than how I grew up. Yeah.
Do you think younger generations rely so much or too much on technology these days?
I think it's a tricky balance, yeah. I don't think I can answer one way or the other, because on one hand, you have access to all the information you need in life. I used to have to go to the library and look at a book. Was the book out of date, for example, my dad, he didn't know that, Jupiter, the planet, was made of gas, because when he was a kid, they hadn't sent spaceships past it yet. So they thought it was just a big rock. And then when my son was learning about the planets, he learned something new then that he had never thought to look up. Whereas kids these days have access to so much information and so much technology that helps learning and fitting into the world and connecting with each other, which is a really good thing. But at the same time, if you're always on your phone or always on the computer, are you really engaging in society and with each other? And there are also downsides with, cyberbullying and just general anger and stuff on the internet as well, which I don't think is good for people. And I think it's a very interesting time to be a kid, because you're growing up in a world that is completely connected, whereas I grew up in a world that was just connecting. The internet started around 95 when I was a teenager, and so much like the TV before and the radio and the printing press, technology changes and evolves, and we as humans need to figure it out as we go. So I think there's really good stuff for you guys, and there's a lot of really negative stuff too. And I think that that's something that you're going to need to navigate in life, which is going to be challenging, yeah.
How was your childhood different to the childhoods of kids today?
Well, there was 3 channels on TV. There was no YouTube. There was no Netflix. When if you missed something on TV, it was gone. You weren't going to see it again. You couldn't just pause it. It cost a lot of money to call people. You know, you weren't on the phone to people all the time. You had to write letters. Everything was a lot slower. But I also think that it was a lot, you know, you just hang out and kind of be bored with your friends and come up with ideas and stimulate your imagination in ways that maybe the apps and the phones aren't doing that. But the apps and the phones are helping you guys create new stuff that I would never think about. So there was good and bad, and there's good and bad today. And it's all about trying to be a good person and trying to have meaning in life, I guess. Yeah.
Feel about social media's impacts on young relationships?
Well, probably for people a little older than you, but I think it has had significant impact on relationships between people when they get to their teens and their 20s. I work with some people who go on dates, and it's all done through, you know, your Tinder and your other apps. And there's a guy I work with, and he was on a date with someone who was swiping, looking for the next date with that, and that would never happen to me. It's not that the girl on the date wouldn't want to see me again, but she wouldn't have been finding the next guy while talking to me. And I think that the speed that we connect and also disconnect from people through social media and apps is probably more detrimental than it is good, because you don't build lasting connections with people, and you have to sort of distill your personality into what is presented on the app. You know, on Instagram, you've got just a couple of photos and a line about who you are. On your YouTube channel, you obviously speak very well into the camera and stuff, but that's probably not who you are when you're with your friends. And so people are creating these personas, and how that's going to change things, I don't know. But it's definitely an interesting time for people. And I think you can't beat in-person time with your mates. So, yeah.
What's one piece of technology that you wish was never invented?
I'd say the personal motor vehicle. If you look at the traffic and the parking problems and the pollution, while they are convenient, our cities basically are designed to have people drive around. When I was a kid, I could ride my bike, I could walk places, I could go on the bus. Now I'm probably sure that your mum probably drives you most places you got to go, because it's just not safe. And also the distances are a lot bigger. You know, you might cross. When I was a kid, I lived in Albion, and I never went to the other parts of town really, because like they were too far away. But now you might go to a soccer game in one place, and you might go to a friend's house somewhere, you know, down in the south or the east. And so, yeah, I think that has really changed us for the worse. The number of cars in Brisbane, especially. Yeah.
Do you prefer the way people communicate now, or communicated in the past?
I think that is a good question. I like being able to like send an instant message on like WhatsApp or Messenger or iMessage and get a response straight away. But I miss having like a well sort of thought out conversation when you would, I'm a bit young for writing letters, but we used to send emails to each other. So you'd put a bit more time and effort to communicate that way. Because right now, I live overseas, and I think, oh, I should send a message to my friend, but then I'm like, oh, do I have time to get in a conversation with them? They're expecting me to be replying back and forth. I'm expecting them to be replying back and forth. So I think it's great that you can get in touch with people, you know, if you're making plans or something. But if you're wanting to have a genuine conversation, I think that the technology actually gets in the way a little bit, yeah.